Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nainam Namaskatyam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudiyayat Nastvesya Bhaktesya Nityam Bhagavata Sevyam Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistike. This morning we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 87, prayers by the Shrutis personified. It's text 43 till 47, I think. 46 till 46, yes. And the first verses have no purport. Still, they have long purports by our previous acharyas, but they are not in our Bhagavatam. I will first read the Sanskrit and we can repeat, and I will read the Sanskrit and translation of text 43, 44, 45, and then 46 we can repeat together. That's on the board. Iti asesa samanmaya purano panishatrasa samudrita purvachater vyomajaner mahatmabhi. Thus the ancient saints who travel in the upper heavens distilled this nectarian and confidential essence of all the Vedas and the Puranas. I will not read the long purport of Shiva Goswami, but Sanatana Goswami, his spiritual master, he has a short purport. He says, yes, that the eldest son of Brahma extracted the sweetest elements of the Upanishads. So we have the eldest sons of Brahma. They have extracted essence of the Upanishads and presented that in verses, selected verses, which is the entire chapter. Now they have finished speaking that text, so we will come to a conclusion. Text 44. Vam Sheta Brahmadayada Shadayatmana Sasanam Dharayam Sargam Kamam Kamanam Bhakshanam Rinam. Translation. And as you wander the earth at will, my dear son of Brahma, you should faithfully meditate on these instructions concerning the signs of the self, which burn up the material desires of all men. Purport. Narada, the son of Brahma, heard this account from Sri Narayan Rishi. The epithet Brahma Dayada also means that Narada attained Brahman effortlessly, just as it were his inherited birthright. I read the purport of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Shiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they are quite short. O son of Brahma, Narada, with devotion taking the supreme teaching which destroys attachment to the world, wander on this earth as you desire. Jiva Goswami comments, Narada is shown to be qualified since he is a qualified son of Brahma, Brahma Dayada. Holding the teachings about Krishna in your heart, wander the earth as you please in order to remove the desires of man. Instead of Bharjanam, sometimes Varjanam is seen. The meaning is the same. Man's desires will be destroyed by proving bhakti through hearing. Now, Sanatana Goswami, he says, O son of Brahma, as his son, you are qualified as those sages. Holding these instructions in your heart and mouth, wander the earth at will to burn up the desires of man for material enjoyment. By having them hear this message, destroy their desire by the production of bhakti. The word Shah distinguishes Narada from the other sages. That is what Narada is doing. He travels to the entire world, entire universe, and he presents the essence of the Vedas. Vedasya sarva ameva vidya. Vedasya sarva ameva vidya. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I'm to be known by the Vedas. Text 45. Shri Sukha Uvacha Evam sa Rishinadistam Hitva Shadayo Yatmavan Purna Shutadaro Rajan Au Vira Frato Munihi. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, when Srinarayan Rishi ordered him in this way, the self-possessed sage Narada, whose foe is as heroic as warriors, accepted the command with firm faith. Now, successful in all his purposes, he thought about what he had heard, O king, and replied to the lotus follows. The next verse, Narada will speaking. Shishya Gopinath ki, Kaunitai ki, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ki. So Sukadeva Goswami said, when Srinarayan Rishi ordered him in this way, the self-possessed sage Narada, whose foe is as heroic as a warrior, accepted the command with firm faith. Now, successful in all his purposes, he thought about what he had heard, O king, and replied to the Lord as follows. The Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, holding the meaning of what he had heard in his mind, holding strongly to his promise, Narada spoke. Jiva Goswami says, Narada had an undisturbed heart because he was a Naistika Brahmachari. By hearing, once he remembered Shrutidar, since he was inclined to contemplation and fixed completely on the Lord, Atmavan. Therefore, he accepted the order given by his Guru Narayan with convinced intelligence immediately in the subject. With all his desires fulfilled, he then spoke. Instead of Rishina, sometimes Gona is seen. O king, Sukadev encourages Parikshit after answering his question. And Sanatana Goswami says, receiving the instruction and goal in this way, Narada spoke. Sometimes the word Garuna is seen. This indicates that Narada took instructions previously from Narayan Rishi, or now he accepted him with faith because of such instructions, or having learned the instructions, he was now a disciple. He was intelligent, Atmavan, and inclined to contemplation, Munihi, because he was strong in his vows, Vira Vrata. Thus he was good at listening and perfect. O King Rajan, you are fortunate to have great goal or Narada shown Rajan. We are coming that text 46, which is on the board. So please repeat. Shri Narada Uvacha. Namastasmai Bhagavate. Krishnaya Malakirtaye. Yodate Sarva Bhutanam. Abhavayo Sati Kala. Shri Narada Uvacha. Namastasmai Bhagavate. Krishnaya Malakirtaye. Yodhate Sarvabhutanam. Abhavayo Sati Kala. Shri Narada Uvacha. Namastasmai Bhagavate. Krishnaya Malakirtaye. Yodate Sarva Bhutanam. Abhavayo Sati Kala. Shri Narada Uvacha. Namastasmai Bhagavate. Krishnaya Malakirtaye. Yodate Sarva Bhutanam. Abhavayo Sita Kala.
Sri Narada Uvacha.
Shri Narada Uvacha. Namastasmai Bhagavate. Krishnaya Malakirtaye. Yodate Sarva Bhutanam. Abhavayo Sati Kala. Shri Narada Uvacha. Namastasmai Bhagavate. Krishnaya Malakirtaye. Yadate Sarva Bhutanam. Abhavayo Sati Kala. Shri Narada Uvacha. Namastasmai Bhagavate. Krishnaya Malakirtaye. Yodate Sarva Bhutanam. Abhavayo Satikala. Word for word translation. Shri Narada Uvacha. Shri Narada said, Namaha, obeisances, Tasmai, to him, Bhagavate, the Supreme Lord, Krishnaya, Krishna, Amala, spotless, Kirtaye, whose glories, Yaha, who, Dathe, manifest, Sarva, of all, Bhutanam, living beings, Abhavaya, for the liberation, Usatihi, all attractive, Kala, expansions, translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sri Narada said, I offer my obeisance to him of spotless fame, the Supreme Lord Krishna, who manifest his all-attractive personal expansions so that all living beings can achieve liberation. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami remarks that Narada's addressing Sri Narayana Rishi as an incarnation of Lord Krishna is perfectly appropriate, in accordance with the following statement of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Etesham sakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swam. All of the above mentioned incarnations, including Narayana Rishi, are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord, but Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. In his commentary on this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has Lord Narayan Rishi asking, why do you offer obeisance to Krishna instead of me, your Guru, who am standing before you? Narada explains his action by saying that Lord Krishna assumes all attractive incarnations like Narayan Rishi to end the conditioned soul's material life. By offering obeisance to Lord Krishna, therefore, Narada honors Narayan Rishi and all other manifestations of Godhead as well. This prayer of Narada's is essential nectar he has extracted from the personified Vedas prayers, which themselves were churned from the sweet ocean of all secrets of the Vedas and the Puranas. As the Gopala Tapani Upanishad recommends, Tasmat Krishna eva paro devam tam dayatvam rasayatam bayatam yayat iti om tatsat. Therefore, Krishna is the supreme Godhead. One should meditate on him, relish the taste of reciprocating loving exchanges with him, worship him, and offer sacrifice to him. Om Aryana Timrandasya Chinamsa Shanakaya Shakshunritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chitchetanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padakamanam Shigam Vaishnavansha Shri Upam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvitam Savdutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jagpate Gopesha Gopkakanta Radhakanta Namastute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanashpre. Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamama Haripriye. Vancha Kaltuvasha Kripa Sindhavesha. Patanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatari. Srila Prabhupada ki. So these prayers here at the end conclude that only pure devotional service and surrender to Krishna can reveal the supreme truth. Now, we have heard all these prayers of the Vedas personified. It's called the Shruti Stuti. That, do you remember anything from these prayers? Yes?
I just remember the very new and interesting detail that Baba Dharma said that the personified Vedas, these are gopis.
Okay. That's very esoteric. That, okay. And maybe since we don't remember much, it's good to go over again and give a summary. I was thinking that, so in the beginning of this chapter, verses 10 to 14, the personified Vedas, they prayed and they glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is the source of all spiritual and material worlds. And then the personified Veda said, we conditioned souls, we are drowning into duality, good and bad, success, failure, happiness, distress. But it's all for the body, that we are not a body. So Krishna, the Supreme Lord, has no material body. So he remains always pure. He never dwells in this duality. And then in verses 15 to 17, the personified Veda says, the Lord is beyond Maya. Only we are in Maya. He cannot be Maya. He appears in this material world, but is untouched by this material energy. That, like the sky, is unaffected by the clouds. So his form, his names, his activities, they are all spiritual. That not like us, conditioned souls who are bound by karma and are in ignorance. And then in verses 18 to 20, the Vedas describes the Lord as nirguna, beyond material qualities. Prabhupada very much stresses there in many lectures this meaning of nirguna. Nirguna does not mean that the Lord has no qualities. No, he is not without qualities. He has no material qualities, but he has transcendental qualities. And his transcendental qualities are unlimited. And then personified Vedas, they state that it's only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that we can know Him. Dry speculation cannot reach Him. That. And then in verses 21 till 23, that the personified Vedas address the soul's misidentification with the body. That the conditioned souls falsely identify with the body and the mind. They are forgetting Krishna. They are chasing illusory happiness. So the Vedas compare this to men dreaming of the world while asleep, that mistaking illusion for reality. That if you take illusion for reality, are you a sane person? No. That Prabhupada was once in Calcutta waiting for a court case, but a small thing about his business. But then at the same time, another court case was going on, and that was a murder case. It was a doctor who chloroformed his assistant because his assistant had an affair with his wife, and he cut his body in pieces, and they put the body in boxes outside, and blood came out, and a policeman came and found it. So before the judge, that there was a psychiatrist appointed to see whether this person was really was he responsible for his actions. That and the judge asked the psychiatrist to speak, and the psychiatrist said, "In my opinion, everyone in this world is more or less insane." That is what he said. That so I cannot say for this person that whether he's responsible for his actions. That so yes, everyone in this world is more or less insane because we are identifying with a body that we are not. That's insanity. Then the path of bhakti. They describe the path of bhakti in verses 24 till 27. So the first thing the personified Vedas say that you can only know the Supreme by devotional service, by developing love for Krishna. Krishna says it also in Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Amam Abhiyanati Jnana Sas Tattvata. So I can only be known by bhakti, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. That, but the personified Vedas continue if we hear and chant about the Lord's glories, then our heart becomes purified. And one perceives the Lord then within and without. That within and without. That I gave once a lecture about 25 years ago or something, and Prahlad Anonymous was listening to the lecture, and I was giving a lecture how to feel the Lord within the heart. And after the lecture, he said to me, "You think that the Lord is only inside, that is not outside? No, he's also outside. A Madhyamadikar sees the Lord everywhere, outside, inside. So one, yeah. But by hearing the Bhagavatam, gradually we start to see the Lord within and without, because that is the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavatam, we hear in the second canto, in the third canto, about the creation. Why Sukadev Goswami explains the creation 2 times in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavatam. Because everything comes from Krishna. And Krishna is in every atom of his creation. He's everywhere. So Krishna is everywhere through his expansion, Paramatma. But we don't see him because of our separatist mentality, which covers separatist mentality, I and mine. Then passion and ignorance covers our consciousness, and we cannot perceive the Supreme Lord. So that's essential. I get a lot of questions to email and WhatsApp of new devotees. And one devotee wrote me, how can we see Paramatma? But with our mind, we cannot see Paramatma. It's not possible. It's a material element. You cannot see something spiritual with a material element. But we have intelligence. With our intelligence, we can begin to understand that. But Prabhupada says, you can see the Lord eye to eye when the eyes are smeared with love of God. That's if you... Then you contact, because this bhakti energy is the highest spiritual energy, Ladini Shakti. And when you are situated in that higher energy, you can see the Lord eye to eye. Yeah. And then they continue to speak about the path of bhakti. The personified Vedas declare devotional service as the only way to know the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Okay, we mentioned that already. And then verses 28 and 31 speaks about the Lord's compassion. The personified Vedas made a point. The Supreme Lord is beyond this universe, but he manifests within the heart as Paramatma. And that he does that to bring the conditioned soul back to him. And that is his causeless mercy. Now, Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, in a purport, that Krishna consciousness means following the instructions of Paramatma from within, or from within the heart. That's fine. When the heart becomes pure, we have direct contact, we follow the instructions. But as long as we are not on that level, we have to follow the instructions of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, which are factually the same instructions. And then verses 32 till 36, the personified Vedas explains we can attain liberation through devotion. So even jnanis who achieve liberation ultimately attain the Lord only when their knowledge becomes mature in devotion. So that's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also. Bhaunam Jnanamamte Bhaunam Jnanamamte Jnanavan Mam Prapachate Vasudev Sarvamiti Samatma Sudurlava. That after many births, the Jnani comes to the conclusion, oh, Vasudev, Krishna, is the source of everything. So we should approach him, and then they become devotees. That's the same thing. Because Jnanis achieve liberation only when they attain bhakti. Because otherwise, real liberation is going back to the spiritual world. And you can only enter in the spiritual world with devotion. Merging with the Brahmajyoti, that they can do, but it's temporary, they have to come back. There's nothing to do there, boring. Because the soul wants activity. Krishna says in the beginning of the 3rd chapter, Krishna says the soul is always active. Prabhupada writes in the purport, if the soul is always active, when it's within the body, why should it be inactive when it's outside the body? Always inactive. Action of the soul by attachment, desire. That came. Then they explain that the Lord creates, maintains, dissolves, and he does that just by his glance. So all by his glance and all his energies do the needful, they act under his directions. And this Lord, and this world, this creation is the Lord Lila, a divine pastime. And then they start to glorify the form of the Lord. That were the last verses, 42 till 44. They glorify his transcendental form as the resting place of all demigods and the cosmic manifestation. They were meditating upon this form. And now in this section, we hear about the conclusion. So, yes, because at the end here, it is said, we had nowadays heard all these Vedas, these Shrutis. Well, it was Narayana Rishi who spoke them, because he repeated them before they were spoken by Narayan. He repeated them. And now the point is, you have heard all these. Now, faithfully meditate on what you have heard. What are you going to do now? So these prayers of the personified Vedas, they describe the essence of all the Vedas. So what's the purpose of all them? But it's to reveal the Supreme Person, the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is a person. So there are different levels of knowledge even scientists they have become experts to even to release power from the atoms. Of course, they can also use it in a destructive way. But this is a lower level of knowledge, it's part of the ultimate knowledge. That without knowledge, we cannot attain the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Person. First, we must know who we are. That's the first thing. So, because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, he comments on these prayers of the personified Vedas. And he comes up with 4 points that these Vedas contain 4 important points. And the first is that we must know who we are. It gives knowledge of the self. We need to deeply understand that, not on the surface. That's where were all of us 100 years ago? Interesting question. No, that's the concept of self mostly, which come up in our minds, is identifying with the body. In 1997, I was in Switzerland with Bhakti Charumaharaj, and with some devotees from Radhadesh were also there, Ramananda Roy and Vishveshvar Prabhu. Vishveshvar Prabhu's situation was already not good. His health was not good. And Bhakti Charumaharaj was thinking that he may soon leave his body. And he instructed him, I was with him, and he said, when the last moment comes, you should think I'm not his body and nothing to do with it. That should be your consciousness. So this knowledge of the self, but of course, we think we are this body, but above that is the knowledge that we are actually eternal. But above that knowledge that we are eternal, there is a knowledge we are Krishna's servant. And that is real knowledge of the self. All other knowledge is incomplete and unsatisfying. Our relationship with Krishna is eternal. All other relationships are fluffy, temporary, only for a few moments. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I do not care to take birth again, as long as I'm born in the house of a devotee, even as an insect, he says, because it's quite a radical statement, right? He said, because in the house of a devotee, I will hear of Krishna. So that's the first point of the Vedas, knowledge of the self. The second point is knowing Krishna deeply. What is the ultimate knowledge of one who is unlimited? Krishna is unlimited. He can even not know himself. But Krishna can only experience his full nature in Vrindavan with the Vrajavasis. The Vrajavasis, they could not experience the fullness of Krishna's nature and sweetness when they met with Krishna in Kurukshetra. That was not possible. They wanted Krishna to come back to Vrindavan. So that's the mood of Ratha Yatra festival also. Krishna says, Napariham, I cannot reciprocate fully with the love of the gopis. So knowing Krishna deeply, that's the second point. The third point is the principle of what's the process for reawakening our love for Krishna and turn to Krishna. And belonging to Krishna again, that's the third. And the fourth aspect of the Vedas is, that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, what's favorable and unfavorable for bhakti. And he says that is what the Upanishad represents. I'm Krishna's servant, and I'm supposed to serve Krishna, entering in a relationship with Krishna, that burns up all our material desires. So that's an overview of the Vedas, of the prayers of the personified Vedas. And what is Narada going to do? He's going to spread this, the essence of the Vedas, bhakti, and that's also the conclusion of these last verses. That, Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions?
Srila Prabhupada stresses this point that we're a preaching movement, we should preach, and then it's said that you should preach because then you get challenged. And if there's no challenge, you can preach. Forced to know scriptures, to focus on the knowledge of the Vedas. So therefore also Srila Prabhupada said books are the basis. The knowledge we have to get, but of course it was more than just knowledge.
Yeah, we need mercy. That mercy to realize this purpose of the Vedas, and that it is said also in the Vedas, for one who pleases the spiritual master, all the imports of the Vedas are revealed within the heart. So it's therefore Krishna says that vinipane partner pariprasna sevya pradiksantityam jnanas tattvadarshana. We cannot go beyond this verse. That is how to get the knowledge and realize it by pleasing the spiritual master, who is representative of Krishna. And it's the same as pleasing Krishna. So we need mercy, mercy, mercy. And mercy comes from that. And yes, preaching means challenges. You don't know what's happening tomorrow. Preaching all over the world. So many challenges. And, thank you, Arjun. Very nice comment. Good. We will stop here. Shantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.